Hello and welcome to IT Leadership Insights by Future Processing. This program is for CIOs and senior IT executives who struggle with meeting their business needs with their current IT department and considering nearshoring as a solution. Just to remind you, we're talking with business experts, industries experts, marketers, consultants to get their perspective on IT outsourcing. My name is Jarosław Granat, and the topic of today's discussion is the latest trends in the IT outsourcing market. And I cannot think of a better guest to talk about this topic than Tom Quigley, the CEO of Emerging Europe Alliance for Business Services, Innovation and Technology, and the Chief Marketing Officer of Quigley Media, a marketing agency from the UK. Hello, Tom.
Hi.
Tom, you've worked in IT outsourcing industry for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, indeed.
So what are your experiences, what you did?
So we've predominantly been on helping buyers and service providers connect with each other, share knowledge, help buyers understand what's coming over the horizon, and put the service providers in the best position possible to help them engage with the buyers and help them provide solutions.
All right, perfect. So to start the discussion about the trends in outsourcing, let's talk about the fundamentals. So why do even companies decide to outsource IT?
I think there's a number of reasons, but I think increasingly it's become all about access to skills and innovation. If you look at the emerging landscape and how technology has changed over the last few years, more and more businesses are starting to waken up to the fact that they need to digitally transform their business in order to stay relevant and in order to stay in business in 5 years' time. What's also happening at the same time as that recognition is growing, the skills, accessibility to the skills is becoming more and more scarce. So the supply and demand is driving prices up. But there's a lot of businesses out there who are fundamentally worried that they won't be able to complete their transformation programs because they can't access the skills. So it's a real problem.
All right, so skills mainly. But do you think that there is a kind of difference between how it looked like in the past and how does it look like nowadays? Because you mentioned price, and I'm not sure whether the price is still relevant as it used to be in the past. What's your opinion?
I think historically it used to be around cost arbitrage and outsourcing these types of services so that the businesses could focus on what's core to them. And cost was obviously a consideration in that respect, but I think probably out of the top 5 criteria now, I think cost is actually somewhere 4th or 5th now. It's more important for businesses now that they access the right skills, that they access innovation, because it's not just about the skills. They actually want to see what's coming over the horizon. They want to know how they can best position themselves to get market advantage. And they also want to have a relationship with their new partners, which historically might have been service provider relationship, but now it's much more of a vested partnership.
Okay, and why do they need it for?
I think it's because a lot of businesses now, once they find a suitable partner, they want to hold on to them. So they're looking for things like cultural alignment. They're obviously looking for the best price. They're looking for accessibility, which is why I think from a nearshore perspective, Central and Eastern Europe has got a massive opportunity. I think there are emerging skills that are coming out from the region as well. Historically, certainly UK and Nordic buyers hadn't typically looked at the region as a delivery destination for these types of things, but I think that's changing.
All right. Regarding the skills you mentioned, Tom, I talk with plenty of clients and they keep talking about the utilization of new technologies like blockchain, machine learning, AI, VR, cloud, etc. Do you think it will shape the industry somehow in the next years or so?
I think it already is, and I think increasingly it will be the thing that drives the industry forward. As I say, historically it used to be the businesses themselves who shaped the way that the outsourcing models worked, because they were looking for access to cheaper cost and more resources. But I think what's happening now is technology itself is becoming the driver. As new technologies come in the scene, it's forcing businesses to rethink their operating models and how they can meet the consumer demand. And as the consumers themselves become more savvy to what's out there, they're becoming more demanding themselves about what they want access to, when they want access to, on the platforms of their choosing, that kind of thing. So I don't think it's something which is going to settle down. I think it's something which is only going to snowball. All
right. And apart from the particular technology skills, are there any factors that you think will shape the outsourcing industry in the next couple of years?
In terms of technology?
Apart from technology.
Apart from technology. I think it's becoming, businesses are becoming less interested in location strategies now.
All right.
And it's more around the skill levels. We just delivered an event in partnership with the Nordic IT Association in Stockholm last week. And the conversation was not about location strategy or whether it should be India or whether it should be South Africa or what. It's all around what skill set can you bring to the table, what partnership approach can you bring to the table. Do you do research and development as part of your own operating model? How can we tap into that? Are you accessible? Can we speak to your coders, your developers? That kind of thing. It's become. They've started to waken up to the fact that it's more of a human relationship now rather than just a company over here dealing with a service provider over there.
All right. So if we can imagine that we are clients who are thinking about outsourcing or have just started outsourcing, what would be your predictions for the market, and what do those companies should concentrate on or keep an eye on in order not to lag behind or use the most of outsourcing providers?
Do you mean enterprises or vendors?
I mean enterprises, yeah.
So I think they need to keep in mind, if they're looking for a partner, then I think they need to keep in mind, what their current capability is, whether they do their own research and development. I think that is very important. I think they also need to understand how mature they are in terms of managing relationships. I've seen a lot of, in my time with the Global Sourcing Association, a lot of criticism between service providers and end users where the relationship has fallen down or outsourcing hasn't worked because the relationship has fundamentally fallen down because people don't have the interpersonal skills to be able to deal with that. So I don't think it should be at the expense of being able to access, IT skills. I think the relationship side of things is still pretty fundamental. But it's also one of the other issues that I think they have, and certainly in the UK, is that a lot of businesses, they understand that they need to digitally transform and they need to become digitally enabled, but they have no idea where to start. Now, they don't say this publicly, but I've had conversations with end users who've said exactly that. They've no idea where to start. What should they be looking at? Their operating model, the platforms, should they be doing a risk assessment? I think if there's service providers who can bring those types of skills to the table and help businesses understand what it is they really need to thrive and survive going forward, then I think that will help them, get greater market share, frankly. So
it's not like, here is our offer A, B, C, and D, but more like we can give you this value by utilizing this particular technology or show you how you can use this for your business, right?
Absolutely. It's less about sitting across from the table and saying these are the 4 things we can do, and it's more about sitting on the same side of the table and understanding, on a common level what the business is trying to achieve and making those suggestions and just testing and learning on a few things as well, which is where the vested part comes in as well, because businesses will almost certainly go for partners who are interested in a longer term relationship.
All right, so partnerships, technology, utilization of the skill set.
Indeed.
All right, thank you, Tom, for this discussion. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, the viewers, for watching this episode of IT Leadership Insights by Future Processing. Again, if you like that, please share it and recommend it to your friends and colleagues who might benefit from that knowledge. If there is anything you'd like us to cover in next episode, just send us an email. And see you next time.